Lightning like Steve McQueen in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit, cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly, better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder, and I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that often. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, you guys, because that's what this show is all about. I want to talk to the right people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take all that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business, in your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I probably fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. I do have a guest for you guys today. He's been on my show a couple of times before. He's got a pretty good event coming up here in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about bridging carrier relations and everything else out there. But before we go any further, you guys, as always, you know what I got to do. We got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or shipper, we all need access to trailers, and we all like getting paid too, because that's what you get with VHub. You can get on there and you can get paid to move those trailers around that they have. So what they're working on right now, you guys, is Lafayette, Indiana, going out to Lake City, Florida. It's a standard dry van out there going for $420 US per trailer. They also have, Fontana, California, going out to Springdale, Arkansas, and that gets $1,080 US per trailer. They have a reefer down in Lebanon, Illinois, needing to get up to Fridley, Minnesota. You get 450 Canadian to do that. And then they have Evansville, Wisconsin, going to Mississauga, Ontario. You get 500 Canadian to do that. That's a dry van. And then finally down in Parkland, Florida, needing to get up to Milton, Ontario, you get 1,000 Canadian to do that. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. You know, my man, Zach Lonergan's already in the audience. You can hit him up, or my friend Stacey Steen, she'll be in as well. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Carol Curtin, good morning to you. Bill McIntyre, good morning. Corey Buchan, let's go. Good morning. See, Zach's already here, you guys. Good morning, Freight Coach crew. Sonny Sharma, Orange Shirt Gang in the house. Got to listen to the show before I get on a plane to Gilbert. Dude, you're coming to Gilbert, and you didn't just give me a heads up? Like, you literally know I live in Arizona. Come on, Sonny. Dale Prax, what's going on, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Sydney Thiessen, good morning. It is beautiful weather out here in Phoenix. It has been phenomenal. It's finally seemingly not summer, you know, and by that, it's like it still gets up to 100 during the day, but it gets into the 70s at night. So, you know, that's what's going on. Julia Castillo, what is up? The best freight show ever. Appreciate you. Let me see. Bill Robinson, good morning to you. All right. Without further ado, I got my man Dan Lindsay coming back on the show. Dan was on the podcast recently, and I had to get him back on because he's got this really cool event coming up here. So, Dan, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I am doing well. We are in the autumn months here in the Midwest, so we are also around 70 degrees.
You're in the not winter phase, you mean. Let's call it what it is, because you're going to start. Dude, it could literally snow next week out in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah, it could snow this week, and it could be like 90 degrees the following week. It's like the most schizophrenic weather patterns that God ever intended.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So, dude, what's been going on out in your world? So the broker carrier summit, not to be confused with broker carrier, my company that I have, but, you know, there could be some in the works here at some point in the near future.
We should talk about that. Yeah,
we definitely should. But what is the Broker Carrier Summit? When is it? Where is it? Put all that out there.
Yes, the Broker Carrier Summit is in just over 2 weeks, October 11th to the 13th. And the intention of the summit is to give brokers and carriers a neutral space in which they can meet, collaborate, network, grow their professional network, as well as find partners to grow their companies. We are the only event, to my knowledge, that is intentionally reaching out to both brokers and carriers to reconcile the relationships between them, and grow their partnership base.
So I heard you have an octagon as well, just in case anybody needs to come to blows. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. Yeah. Bane is bringing his personal octagon. So there's a lot of blood and sweat already in that, I've heard. So looking forward to jumping in.
Nah, man, it's a great event, you know, and there's a lot of people who are getting on board with that as well. You know, I saw that my friends over at Green Screens, they're sponsoring it.
Yeah.
Dawn is speaking, and Kevin is speaking too out there, right?
Correct. Yeah. Dawn is one of our keynotes, and Kevin is leading a panel in our breakout sessions.
No, I love that. It's I'm just looking forward to this event. And I'm really looking forward to the one because I'm actually going out to Houston here. I'm flying out tomorrow night for Ramel Watley's Freight Fest, right?
Yeah.
And I think like that event, and then same with yours, man, are like a real grassroots level conference, right? Like these are entrepreneurs, these are people out there who are, you know what? They don't subscribe to the narrative that like every broker's shitty and every carrier's shitty and all of that stuff. It's like, hey, we might have our differences, but like there's enough of this pot for us all to cohesively work together on and to bring a quality product to the market. And I think like this is one of those things where it's like you got to get in the room, right? Because you're not perfect. Hard pill to swallow, especially in today's snowflake day and age. You're not perfect. You don't have everything figured out. You have a lot to learn. And I think this is a great setting to bring a lot of that stuff to the table, right? Because it needs to be fixed.
Absolutely. When I think what we're seeing is a culmination of years and years of just frustration and distrust building in across the industry, right? So carriers don't trust brokers, brokers don't trust carriers, but we need each other to work together and to be profitable. Carriers need brokers, especially the newer carriers who are just entering the market. That's why we say one of the things we're talking about. I'll be talking about this on the 12th, on October 12th at the summit. The future of logistics is partnership. I think everybody who has been in the industry for a while is fed up with the way things have been going the last number of years between carriers and brokers. And so I think the attitude is changing. I think the climate is changing, and people are wanting those mutually agreeable business relationships that they can rely on for not just for the next load, for the next few months, for the next few years.
You know, and that's one thing. So like at broker carrier, you can confuse them both. Broker carrier tech company, broker carrier summit, because I will gladly market anything Dan Lindsay's associated with at any point in time. But, you know, for us, it's about putting the right carriers out there, right? I think like there's a lot of talk right now about like, oh, they're new. And I get the apprehensions associated with the new business. As somebody who's actually founded a company before, I've been told that by banks and other places like, oh, you're too fucking new. But this country is literally built on small business. It's the backbone of our economy across every industry. And we need to put resources out there to help elevate the small business, because contrary to popular belief, there's no playbook to this stuff, right? The odds are instantly stacked against you the day that you put all your fucking capital on the line to make it happen for yourself. So conversations like what Dan is talking about right here are vital. Brokers who have been doing this for a long time, you need to talk to your carrier partners about this. This is one thing that we do every single day. Every single shipment that we move, we reach out to the carriers who have done the load for us in the past. I will gladly work with the same trucking companies time and time again, as opposed to going out to the spot market, because that strategy, you guys, it might work right now. Okay. It might work right now when capacity is kind of soft to go out to the spot market. You think, oh, I'll find a cheaper truck. I'm against that strategy, but to each in their own. A couple of months from now, you guys, a lot of you are going to get a hard dose of reality when rates start to increase, when capacity tightens up, when it's going to get real hard for you to do your job. I'm trying to give you guys like a 7-month heads up and put out best practices right now. And I know that that's what Dan's committed to at the Broker Carrier Summit as well. It's like, you guys, there are a lot of trucking companies out there who are just like us, right? They want to work hard. They want to provide for their family. They want to make a fair wage, just like every single one of you out there, right? So it's like that's where the real secret sauce is in brokerage that nobody talks about. Is building up that carrier network. I'm still, Dan, and I would love, I know your answer to this, but I'm just going to facetiously put this out there right now. I'm still waiting for that broker to come to me with that business plan on how they make money without having carrier partners. I'm still waiting for it. I'm still waiting for it.
Yeah, you'll be waiting a long damn time.
You know, you've been doing this a long time, Dan. You've been doing this a
Yeah.
really long time. I've been doing this a really long time. Dan's not bald and I'm not gray because we're actually 25, each of us.
that old meme of the person in logistics is 25 years old. It's like the 80-year-old guy.
But throughout any freight market, where I found success is by using the same trucking companies time and time again for literally everything.
Absolutely.
I've been bailed out of so many more situations. And on top of that, the best part, because we have a really quality group of carriers that we're working with right now, that it's some of the best providers I've ever worked with in my career. And the best part about them is it's like, if they don't have somebody, they refer us to one of their friends who also will work with us and provide the exact same level of service that they're giving right now. And to me, it's about building that up one lane at a time, right? Like you can't just put all this stuff out there and then only use it when it's convenient for you, because mark my words, starting in probably June of next summer, and at least it will be going through this time next year, you're going to start seeing everybody posting, oh, relationships, the carriers need relationships, blah, blah, blah. And these are the same people posting stuff for $1 a mile right now. It's going to be odd how the tunes have switched. I've watched the seasons change here over the social media landscape since I started creating content in 2020. It's already happened. It's going to happen again. And this clearly shows me that there was a massive failure by a lot of organizations over these last couple of years to actually implement a carrier policy out there about utilizing the same ones in your network. Now, I know this is hard. Again, you guys, this isn't Snowflake Show. This is reality. I know this is hard to build this stuff up, but if you actually apply it, not when it's convenient for you, but when you actually apply it time and time again, it's amazing how many trucks are out there for you when the market has flipped.
Absolutely. I mean, even when I was working at a large brokerage, my carrier pool that I pulled from was extremely small. I only used a handful of carriers because they were consistent. I gave them consistent business. They consistently delivered on service, and we had that relationship. They knew I wasn't going anywhere else, and I knew they weren't going anywhere else. And everybody could breathe. Everybody could relax. And you know who ultimately wins? The freaking shipper.
Yeah, shocker.
The shipper wins. Amazing. Yeah. So it's like these conversations should have been happening, and I know they do happen in pockets all across the industry. But I think the wind is changing, especially when it comes to the way carriers and brokers want to do business.
Yeah.
The summit is not going to just be a moment in time. My hope and my goal for the summit is that it begins a movement, or it continues and builds on the movement toward closer broker carrier cooperation.
Yeah, and it should, right? Like, you know, I'm really good friends with Adam Wingfield, and that's somebody, I don't know if you've reached out to him. That's somebody who you should look into having speak out at the next event is, you know, because he's he represents, I forget how many of the small carriers out there, but, you know, he came up, he was a driver, he was a company owner, and now he does consulting work inside of that for the owner operators and the small fleets. He is small trucking in my opinion. And you know, I was just recently talking with him about this a lot, right? And for me, it is it's all about, you know, I think a lot of people have a hard time putting themselves in other people's shoes as well. Like, you know, when you don't call shippers and receivers and confirm, you know, those details, that and it just a lot of things, and like what the after effects of your inactions do to somebody else's business, right? And you know, it's not just as easy as, oh, just wait till tomorrow. That's not the case at all, right? Because you know, I went into, you know, and I've talked about this on the show, right? Like my dad was an owner op. He drove for 40 years. He missed the birth of my sister. He missed multiple sporting events of all of this stuff. You know, and now that I'm like looking back I'm like, well, why was that? Was it because somebody else didn't do their job and, they told him to show up somewhere and then it delayed him and everything else? And I don't know, man. I want to be very, very clear. I'm not perfect. All right. I was young. I thought I had it all figured out for a long time, but I learned the hard way. And that's what changed my perspective on things, because you know what? Cost me some money out of my bonus check. It cost me some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I changed my ways because of that. And I don't want it to get to that point for you guys. Right. And I understand that there's good and bad people on all sides of this industry. But at the end of the day, if you've never had an actual conversation with a trucking company and a driver to find out what they go through out there on the road, you should, right? Like, you're sitting behind a computer all day, you should. I think it would be very beneficial for you.
Absolutely. And if you can't get behind the wheel of a truck, or you can't, go out and meet your carriers individually, come to something like this. Because one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting on classes, breakout sessions that are designed to teach not just how partnerships operate, but we have a class that's fully focused around safety and compliance. I don't want just carriers to go to that class. I want brokers to go to that freaking class. So
Yeah.
brokers have to understand all the hoops, all the compliance, and all the rules and regulations that carriers have to go through just to haul your stuff.
Yeah.
That's valuable. I want brokers to engage with carriers during our Q&A panel. Ask them questions. I want carriers to be able to say what they would wish brokers would ask them in front of brokers, so that those brokers take that back to their companies and they say, hey, you know what? We have to change the way we approach our carriers. Here's an actionable plan that we can put in place. That's how we change the industry.
I agree. Sonny, it is October 11th through the 13th, right, Dan, in Tampa, Florida?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's where it's at out there. And I'll make sure, Sonny, if you want the information, I can text it over to you, bro. Yeah, I just, I look at a lot of where we are right now, and it seems like it's just repeat, right? It's, you're gonna see the same posts coming out of the same people in the next couple of months. And it's exhausting, right? Because at the end of the day, if you want this industry to change, you have to be the change yourself, right? Like, I can't change what happens at Dan's organization, just like he can't change what happens at my organization. It's my responsibility. It's his responsibility if we want to do that and lead by example. And that's one thing that I'm committed to, is leading by example, by putting best practices out there. Like, everything we talk about on this show and my podcast and everything is what I do every single day, because I want to utilize the exact same trucking companies for everything. I want my people to understand everything about a trucking company. If you don't know hours of service, if you don't know what sleeper berth is, if you don't know what fucking, I don't know, insert anything into there, you need to talk to a trucking company, do some research, do some due diligence, because it's not as easy as, oh, just throw it and drive and go down the road and pick this load up. It's not as easy as that, you guys. You need to understand this, because, again, I'm not going to sit here and say you should know how much it costs somebody else to run their business. It would be beneficial to understand what a break-even analysis looks like for a trucking company. It really would. But I kind of err on the side of caution with saying that, because Dan, your overhead is none of my business. And if you, as the owner of that organization, don't know how to run a profitable business, I can't help you there. But you should understand the costs associated with what your partners go through to have a working relationship.
Absolutely. Well, and that helps the broker anyway, because if you're working on a load and the driver tells you, hey, I need $4 a mile to break even, you have to know why he's full of crap. Or if he's not, I wouldn't personally use that carrier, because if he takes that much money to run your business, maybe there's some inefficiencies that we need to figure out before you end up on the side of the road because you didn't pay, 2 or 3 bills, So.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I think that, this is just one of those opportunities that, again, you got to look at it. I think that, in my opinion, it is brokers or not brokers, excuse me, companies, trucking companies and shippers are 1A and 1B of importance. All right. You can interchange them in any way. It's the chicken and the egg argument that's perfect out there. And you know what I was alluding to earlier is I'm still waiting for that broker to give me a business plan on how they can find shippers and execute without trucking companies. But I'm being serious as well, because you don't do yourself any favors by pushing down those rates, because we all know, right? Like these people, you don't quote $1 a mile. All right.
No.
You didn't quote your customer $1.10 a mile and you're, trying to pay $1 a mile. You didn't do that. All right. You didn't do that at all. And I personally think that I'm not here to tell you how to do anything. But just know that I'm not operating that way. And it's only a matter of time before I will fucking decimate you if you're competing against me. All right. And I know Dan's organization is I can't speak for him, but I'm assuming that that's what he's all about doing the right thing.
We're on the same page, my friend.
Yeah. But that's the thing is it's like, if you want to go out there, I mean, I heard this saying a while ago, and it's just slowly turning into my favorite saying out there is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And, it's going to cost you business. All right. It's going to cost you a customer at some point in time, and it's going to cost you relationships. All right. And then you're going to sit there and find yourself in a situation where you're either going to double down and continue to operate in a shady manner, or you're going to have a moment like I did where I'm like, man, I am so sick and tired of playing all these games and causing myself to stay up at night and anxiety and everything else under the sun. And I'm like, I'm done, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. I let everybody know what's going on with this stuff. I have open conversations with our carriers when we're booking them on freight. They know literally everything. Hours of operation, piece counts, pallet counts, fucking you name it. They are aware of that. They have points of contact at shippers and receivers. They know everything. All right. I don't withhold that shit. I don't play that game, because frankly, if you feel the need to do that, you're doing your job wrong. You are very much doing your job wrong.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Well, it's like the broker who's always concerned about the carriers back soliciting them. If that's your main concern, if you're always worried about that, then you are not doing a good enough job developing those partnerships with your carriers. At Linkage, we have carriers that we've done a lot of business with over the last couple of years, and they've actually sent us business. They've sent us shippers and said, hey, I've not been able to get into this place. Can you and your sales guys talk to the shipper and say, and talk about, being able to add yourself as a brokerage? And we're in the process of a couple of those conversations right now. And the understanding is, once we secure this business, if we do indeed secure this business, you are top tier. You are the number one carrier we're going to use. And because again, a rising tide lifts all boats, but our good carriers, the carriers that haul for us regularly, they know pretty much everything about all the shippers and all the consignees that we ship in and out of. We don't hold anything back from them.
I'm going to repeat what you just said there, because I've also found that very, very true. When you work with a committed group of carriers, is they turn into a sales force for you. Hey, I'm picking up at this facility all the time out there. You should call them, right? They have more freight. Hey, I'm set up with these. I've had some of these guys who are like, I'm set up with these guys direct. They're looking for other providers right now. Here's the shipping manager's information. I told them you would be calling. It's real conversations like that happen, right? And if you've never been presented that, there's an opportunity for you to change, right? And again, you guys, and it's simple. We've all been doing this job, and I'm going to take it back. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you're new to the industry, and you know what? You're just quoting your first couple of shipments. All right. Every time you win a shipment, call the shipper. All right. Verify all that information, especially if the shipper is not your customer. All right. Verify the PO number is valid. Verify the piece counts, the weights, all of that stuff, and put that stuff on your bill of lading or your rate confirmation. Let everybody know. Same thing. If the receiver's not your customer, call them, verify that they're aware that the shipment is coming in. Get their hours of operation, go a step further, find out, is there a specific dock door that the driver needs to check into upon arrival? Is there a specific gate that the driver needs to enter into? Again, you guys, we're in a game of minutes with the world of ELDs, all right? And the more information you can find out at some of these facilities, the better off they're going to be. And then if you're in the open deck world like I am, I always verify that they have the right equipment on site to either load or offload the truck upon arrival, because, at active job sites, sometimes the forklifts are going to be on another side of the job site that is a ways away. And this way, again, better communication, more efficiency, and everything else, you guys. That's literally all you need to do. Okay. You take that, you call ahead, you verify that, and then you pass that information along to your drivers. I can't say I've never had a driver try and back solicit, right? Because I have, right? At the end of the day, it's going to happen. But welcome to the real world, you guys. This is a very competitive industry. If you want the snowflake world, don't work in reality. All right. What is it? What do they say on the campaign? Rainbow Land. He's like, I don't want to live in Rainbow Land. You can't make me. This is the real world, you guys, and you should.
Nobody's asking you to live in Rainbow Land.
Exactly. Nobody. But it's one of those things, man, where it's like you should be committed to doing better every single time. I look at every shipment we move almost every day, and I'm like, all right, what could we have done better? Especially if there was a little bit of a slip up, right? Because I'm not perfect, we're not perfect, but we are working towards perfection. What can we do to build up that process, to get it in, to get that system in place to where we can minimize stuff at the end of the day, right? Because I want my carrier partners to win. I want them to make so much money in working with us that they can expand their operations, add more trucks, because that's what we need. We need more good businesses on the road. So why aren't we cohesively working together to make that possible?
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. There's nothing I can add to that.
Oh, man, I just get fired up about this stuff. I really do, because I love what you guys are doing out there. And I love that it's becoming more and more of a thing, because it really needs to. And, there's always going to be a subsector of people who they just don't care no matter what. It's always everybody else's fault. And, but again, all we can do is be committed to putting the right information out there, right? And standing up for your carrier partners when you're out there in the market, if there are delays, getting them their money, if there's changes in detention, all of that stuff. But most importantly, it starts with a conversation. Have an actual conversation with them, and you will be pleasantly surprised on how many of them are they don't want to work with a shitty broker. Heaven forbid them, right? Heaven forbid. Mm-hmm. And I'm being completely sarcastic. I wouldn't want to work with a shitty broker either if I was them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the point is too, as these conversations continue and as the momentum and the conversations change in the industry, one of the goals is to keep the bad actors on the sidelines. The problem is the bad actors have taken front and center stage for the last however many years, and that's unfortunately become the defining traits of what broker carrier relationships look like, and that's absolutely not the case. There are 25,000 brokerages in the U.S. And you can judge the brokerage industry by the top 150, or you can judge it by the double broker scammers out of Glendale or wherever the hell they're at now, or you can judge them by the 2,500 other or 24,000 other brokerages that are out there that are trying to really make a difference in their customers and in their carriers' lives. And I think as the conversations continue to grow, that's what's going to happen.
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. Eventually, all the right information is going to be out there where it's going to drown out a lot of this bad behavior, and it's going to make it more and more visible on who's right and who knows what they're doing and who's not. But it's going to take that commitment, right? And again, I try and tell all my friends that are drivers out there right now, if brokers can't answer basic questions, don't book their load. I don't care how much money it pays. If they can't tell you when the load picks up, piece counts, pallet counts, needs to be tarped, untarped, anything like that, don't even book their load. They don't know what they're doing at the end of the day. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. I know the market's dire in some places, but don't put yourself in that. And then brokers, if that's the way that you're doing it, shame on you. And again, it's only a matter of time. I will fucking steamroll every single one of you, because I will do this the right way. I will change the industry. I am committed to that. So that was quick, man. That was a quick 30 minutes, as it always is.
30 minutes? Wow.
Yeah, it goes by fast, man. But no, I'm glad to see that you got this going, man. You got some sponsors out there. You're making this happen. Shout out to Green Screens and everybody else that's making it possible for you. How does anybody reach out to find about tickets, the event itself? What's that website? Put that out there, man.
Yeah, so it's brokercarriersummit.com, and that'll take you to our event page. You can learn everything you need to know about the event there. We have the agenda, we have our speakers, we have our sponsors. Once you sign up, we'll send you a link to the hotel. to hopefully we still have rooms left on our room block. We may be sold out. Yeah, brokercarriersummit.com. And my contact information is on there as well if you want to reach out directly.
I like it, man. Dude, hit it up, Broker Carrier Summit or brokercarrier.com to check out my business. Get it out there, guys. But no, seriously, Broker Carrier Summit. It's happening out there in a couple weeks, you guys. Attend yeah, let's make this happen. But as always, you guys, if you guys got value, share the show. That's all I can ask at the end of the day. Subscribe to it out there on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Share it out there, you guys, because that's how we are the top ranked show in the industry, is because of each and every one of you. And the fact if you see value, your network's going to see value in it as well. We'll be back tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon. It's all right, Dan. We're going to